Austinites gathering on the South Congress Bridge to watch the Bats ascend from beneath the bridge up into the evening skies. And as the Bats rise, the Tulsa Roughnecks descend upon the capital city for a clash with the Austin Bold, looking for a rematch after the Bold captured the full 3 points last time north of the Red River. Austin Bold, Tulsa Roughnecks round 2 in the final regular season meeting between these two sides. If they meet for the third time, it'll be quite a run from Tulsa, who right now sits on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. Top 10 teams out of the West, top 10 out of the East will both make it. Right now, Austin is just on the outside of possibly hosting a first round matchup, as that will belong to the top 4 seeds. Bold tied for 5th. Welcome to Bold Stadium, everybody. Lincoln Rose along with Arch Bell. Again, Roughnecks come to town struggling to find a full 3-point decision. Draws and losses have been their story since late April. Can they find a rare 3 points here in Texas?
Well, they really could use it. It's been a while since they've achieved a win, and they would love nothing more than to repay the favor that Austin gave them up in Tulsa earlier this summer. But a big win is needed for this Tulsa team.
Tulsa saw a lead evaporate when Chris Tierpak had that second half hat trick the last time these two teams met. He'll be in the starting lineup, which we'll have in just a moment. But first, the players you want to focus on for Tulsa, if they're going to win, a big part of it's going to be DaCosta and his creativity.
Well, there you see DaCosta right there. I mean, such a wonderful player, can score goals, very good setting up teammates as well, can provide the assists. So if he's on form tonight, Tulsa's got a chance to come out with 3 points.
And of course, for the Bold, well, a mainstay in the lineup is back in the starting 11 after getting the past few starts off, coming off the bench recently. Kleber, what a leader he has been here in year number 1.
I mean, what can you say about Kleber? I mean, he's just so good leading that forward line for the Bold. He's a handful for any type of a center back in this league. So he'll be called upon again tonight for that hold-up play and to lead that forward line for Austin.
Austin wrapping up a brief homestand, second straight weekend here in Austin. They're looking to bounce back from a loss of their own. Opening kick and starting lineups when we return. Just about set to go here at Bold Stadium. Round 2 between the Bold and the Roughnecks. We take a look at the starting 11 for Michael Incien's Roughnecks as they make their journey here against the number 5 team in the West. Of course, Steinahar back in goal. But when you take a look at the remainder of this lineup and these 11 men, what stands out to you?
Well, it's certainly DaCosta right there. He's an important player there in the center of the pitch. Altamirano will be joining him there in that midfield. So those are the two guys that really need to be leading the charge.
Toby Uzo up top found his first goal last week in the 90th minute in that 4-1 loss against the Real Monarchs. Take a look at the men that Marcelo Serrano puts in his lineup. Well, some of the decisions are made for him. Last week, 2 men out, serving suspensions. This week, 2 men out, serving suspensions. They do get back Okugo after his brace 2 weeks ago, and that should help solidify the line in front of Diego Restrepo.
Yeah, you want to see a good defensive performance from the Bold. Up top, we mentioned Kleber earlier, and then, of course, Chris Tierpak, who had a hat-trick against Tulsa last time out, so he'll be looking for more again tonight.
You know you have a stacked attack when we don't even mention Andre Lima, the man with the 8 goals, the leading scorer for the Austin Bold. As this is a deep roster, arguably the deepest, others will point out also the oldest in the USL Championship, colliding with Tulsa tonight.
You know, and that's such an interesting point, Lincoln, especially on a night or an evening like this evening when it's so hot. And you know how much these guys can go the full 90 minutes, being able to put in the full 90 minutes with their elder years, I guess you could say, for some of those legs, and that's going to be an interesting aspect for tonight's match.
Second straight weekend that sun has forced the start time to be pushed back 30 minutes just to allow for cooler temperatures. We do anticipate a water break in each half as the Bold wrapping up their homestand. They did let last week slip away against Los Dos. Lincoln Rose, Arch Bell with you. Let's check in for the first time tonight with Allie Trost.
Thanks, Lincoln. The Roughnecks don't want to be counted out just yet. Despite being winless in their last 16 games, head coach Michael Incian said this past week that overall he's been very impressed with the motivation his team has been showing week in and week out in training. He says that overall they just need to get over the hump mentally and are looking at this game tonight as an opportunity to restart the season and try and make a late push for the playoffs. However, they know that it's not going to be an easy task against an experienced Bold roster that has a lot of depth and in an environment that's very tough here at Bold Stadium. Therefore, he says in order to find success, his team's going to need to capitalize on counterattack opportunities, try and find holes in the defense, and play very disciplined on defense if they want to try and get their first win since April 24th. Back up to you, Lincoln.
Yeah, Allie, thank you. That last win, as you noted, April 24th against the Switchbacks. Since then, alternating draws and losses. And yet, 17th in the West. They've already surpassed their win total last year when they won 3. They thought it was a brilliant start this year. They had 5 wins before. Again, late April. Off to a great start. 4 wins, I should say, but have struggled to find that 5th. But here's an opportunity. DaCosta, with his 7 assists this year, will put his left boot to work on an early set-piece opportunity. As Sion McFarland quickly rejects this one back outside the penalty area. McFarland among the men returning to that back line. We will see Sion up and down the pitch. Right on cue. McFarland eyes up the pitch. Left boot will send it in. Chumasi able to finish. And just like that, the Bold able to strike in minute number 2.
Lincoln, that was a clinical counterattack from the Bold. I mean, they couldn't have asked for a better start right there. And what great movement, great runs from the Bold attack. That was perfect.
Arch, these were 2 men starting on the back line last week, creating the offensive strike.
And there it is. It's just executed perfectly. You know, you really couldn't have asked for a better start from the Bold. Talking with Bold players this week, they said they wanted a strong start, knowing that they were going against a Tulsa team that was struggling, and this is exactly what they were looking for.
First score for Emma Chuamasi in his time with the Austin Bold. Of course, on loan from FC Dallas, the pride of Ghana. Former Wake Forest Demon Deek.
And it's going to be really important here for Tulsa that they've shown a tendency during this winless streak that when they concede, and then especially when they concede a second, they get down, they lose focus, they start to have lapses in the defensive 4, and then that's when some veteran leadership needs to take over and to keep this unit together, to stay compact. There's a lot of soccer left. So to keep their heads about them and try to get back into this game, try to pull level.
This is all the way back on the opposite end of the pitch where DaCosta went down in the transition. And good to see him back on his feet, but what a loss that would be if for any reason Rodrigo had to leave 3 minutes in.
Yeah, that's pretty much the last thing Tulsa fans want to see is DaCosta, number one in early goal. There it is right there. And then number one in early goal being conceded and then having DaCosta have to leave the field.
Again, that was just a ball that he took to the head. So far able to follow in this concussion protocol. At the moment, Austin up a goal, also up a man. This is after Tulsa was able to set up an early corner opportunity, but moments later the counter from McFarland. Able to find Chuamasi. Second straight weekend at home, the Bold have a lead. They would wind up falling 3-1 against Los Dos last weekend. The Bold at times with early advantages have not been able to keep their foot on the pedal.
Yeah, and that's been one of the stories here this summer for the Bold is getting these early leads. And it was interesting talking with Bold midfielder Sonny Guadarrama earlier this week, and he said, you know, some of those late leads we lost to some MLS reserve sides, so younger legs maybe. He said the key thing for this week is getting on top early and then really putting Tulsa to the sword.
Second corner for the Roughnecks, but here are your keys to the match for the Bold tonight.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and just check off number one. That's been done. Start strong. You got a goal in the second minute. Couldn't have asked for anything better. Discipline. There have been a lot of red cards lately for the Bold. 2 last week. Stay focused, stay disciplined. And then number 3, closing it out. Don't let this Tulsa team work their way back into the match. Like I said, put them to the sword and close this match.
That ball sailed all the way through the penalty area. We'll wind up right back with the Roughnecks. Tulsa, again, has been alternating losses and draws ever since this past spring. Bold letting this ball linger. And able to avoid the equalizer, at least for a moment. This ball at the feet of Sheldon. Resende trying to create chaos inside the 18. Header on to Restrepo. And the man just 2 years removed from being the top keeper in this league, able to smother that one.
Well, so far, I like the response from Tulsa after the goal. They're being aggressive, pushing numbers forward to see if they can get an equalizer. And there's the chance right there. You see the header on goal, and Restrepo right on top of it. But good positive play from Tulsa.
Chuamasi's first goal as a member of the Bold, still holding up the advantage. Remember, that was with McFarland and Emma on the left side. Now on the opposite end of the pitch here on the near side. They love the versatility. Chuamasi's a Swiss Army knife who can basically play anywhere you need him on the pitch. For Tulsa, how do they find a comeback tonight and possibly a first time since April with a full 3 points?
Well, be opportunistic. So when you are in front of goal, you've got to be able to finish those chances. Take your chances, finish those chances. Staying compact in the back. They were gutted on that counterattack leading to the Bold goal. So things need to tighten up there in the back for that Tulsa defense. And then nothing to lose. If they can stay within a goal, possibly pull level, and then maybe try to sneak in a late winner. That's what they're going to be looking to do here tonight.
As Sheldon went down there for a moment, we will point out that DaCosta was able to return. A great sign for Tulsa, as obviously he would be a big part of a early comeback effort. Man in frame tonight, Steinahar, of course, on loan from Orlando City, signed back in 2015 with Orlando as a homegrown contract. Made his pro debut earlier this year against RGV. Now his 15th start in frame for the Roughnecks. Been a revolving door at times, back in goal for Tulsa. Sean Lewis certainly factoring in as well. Tap back from Luca Lobo, a young man they are really excited about, the 21-year-old out of Sao Paulo.
Yeah, plenty of Brazilian flair on the field here tonight on both sides. Lots of Brazilians on both sides of the ball.
Certainly understandable with Austin, their general manager and head coach, both from Brazil. In fact, their most recent signing announced earlier this week, Gustavo Ricci, the Brazilian, will be joining the team soon enough. Well, last week was camo week. I'm not sure if the head coach is wearing camo, but you don't see Marcelo Serrano. There he is in the polo. And of course, what I love is he's got Ryan Thompson, his assistant, right next to him, who's also his third-string goalkeeper, who's not been someone they've had to call upon this year. And then, of course, Michael Incien, the Tulsa native who would play at Dayton and then go on to success in the MLS with Portland and the Galaxy.
You really have to credit Incien, Lincoln, for keeping things positive for this Tulsa team. You know, you still see, you know, watching this team and, you know, following them throughout the last couple months, even despite this winless streak, staying positive.
Meanwhile, a yellow card against the most recently SAFC man, AJ Ajekwa. Ajekwa, a couple years ago in San Antonio, last year Colorado Springs. Also saw time with the former OC Blues, now Orange City SC, Orange County, I should say, SC. Kleber with a rare touch to Lima. Again, just think of what Austin has already accomplished tonight without those two being involved. Tulsa thought if they could keep Chris Tierpak quiet, they might have a chance. Tierpak on that left wing asking for the ball. Instead, this one will make its way all the way to Steinahar.
Yeah, I think Chumasi, that would have been the better play out wide right. And I'm just not sure if Kleber saw him.
Out for a stroll. Uncontested up to midfield. Sheldon out wide, the target. Again, Michael Incien, named the new head coach this offseason for Tulsa after their struggles last year. Pride of Booker T. Washington High School in Tulsa. Chumasi with a goal tonight, looking to dial up Kleber. Lima will polish it off. Number 9 for number 99.
And that's a pure goal scorer's goal right there. Right place at the right time and able to finish, pounces on that ball. And 10 minutes in, the Bold are cruising.
You were talking about Brazilians. Chumasi to Kleber. And Lima, opportunistic.
In the 10th minute of play, Austin Bold.
A goal scorer just can smell the goals, and Andre Lima was right there. Nice play from Kleber, positive play. The ball, the deflection went right to Lima, and he finishes.
You'll forgive Andre if he's out of celebrations already here in mid-August. Again, his 9th scoring strike in this inaugural campaign for the Austin Bold. 2-goal leads also have not been safe for Austin this year at home.
Yeah, against Portland Timbers 2, there was a 2-goal lead. They looked like they were flying on their way to an emphatic win, and then Timbers came right back, and Austin walked away with a 2-2 draw. So plenty of soccer left in this one.
Kleber this past week celebrating his 36th birthday. Again, the Bold, on average, oldest team in the West. That has not kept them out of the playoff picture. Their composure has paid off. Chumasi battling with Sheldon. 2 yellow card accumulations led to a pair of missing defenders last week. 2 red cards last week lead to another rotation change tonight. That's where a guy like London Woodbury making his 2nd straight start on the back line for Austin, and that depth for this squad has really paid off. When you can go back to a homegrown FC Dallas young man who saw time with the New England Revolution for 2 seasons in MLS. That's far from scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I mean, what a luxury right there to come from such a good program as FC Dallas, to have that MLS experience, and then you just slot him right in.
There's the aforementioned Woodbury, and that should be an easy handball call.
Now, the big thing right now for Tulsa is they gotta clamp down on some of the spaces that the Bold are getting right now. Chumasi's having a field day on this right, receiving the ball in tons of space. Tulsa needs to make that adjustment, giving Austin too much room, too much space on the ball.
39-year-old Marcelo Serrano has a couple of jobs that he juggles. Head coach of the Austin Bold, head coach of the U.S. Virgin Islands squad.
Well, CONCACAF Nations League coming up next month.
Tierpak, he was a super sub in Tulsa earlier this year with the hat trick off the bench in just 45 minutes of play. But he has happily looked on as two of his teammates have found scoring strikes here in the opening 13 minutes. A bold player trying to stretch out at the moment as Andre Lima, who had that second score, the most recent competitor down.
And that's not one you want to see, especially just over 13 minutes into this one and Lima on the ground. And it makes you wonder maybe some type of a muscle or what's going on there. So it's not something that Coach Marcelo Serrano wants to see this early in the affair.
Andre, past couple of years in Brazil's Serie A. Before that, in the Chinese Super League and, of course, the Bundesliga, where he had 88 goals in his pro career before now 9 here in the States in the USL Championship.
I mean, what a luxury for Serrano to be able to roll out a Lima, a Kleber, guys who have accomplished so much at the international level, at the international club level in Europe and South America. They've played big games, big tournaments, Copa Libertadores.
Seems like half this roster with May birthdays. This past spring, he turned 34 years young. He'll take a step off the pitch for a moment. This reminds us that Javi Baez left the match in the 29th minute last weekend. He had been each and every day in the lineup for Marcelo Serrano, unavailable tonight.
Well, Baez is such a key figure in this team, and it's not a coincidence that Los Dos were able to mount that comeback with after that Baez injury, after he had to leave, because you talk about the ultimate safety valve. Just when in doubt, when in trouble, you just pass it to Javi Baez.
Uzo called for that last foul.
And yeah, that's a clip from behind there from Uzo. He didn't like it. You can see Uzo, he's trying to get his teammates fired up, trying to make sure guys don't get down, that guys stay focused, that guys stay in this contest and try to work Tulsa back into this game.
Tierpak out to Kleber. And Kleber will be the guilty party that time, battling for a ball with Brian Reyes. The Honduran able to pop back up, a bit hobbled. Of course, Farhad Datko, our lead man for this four-man officiating crew tonight, along with Mark Novosel, Kevin Locke, and across the way at the table, Derek Smolik. Talk about fitness of the 22 competitors on the pitch right now. Those referees not too shabby.
No, they can certainly go.
They're out there in the heat as well.
Yeah, you bet.
Pocket picked. Tulsa looking to pull one back. Leading the charge, Altamirano. Restrepo desperate for a handball. It won't come. And Tulsa somehow squandered that opportunity as they dipped inside the 18.
Boy, Resende, he had it right there on his left foot. Just really not able to get as much on it as he wanted. The shot was blocked, but Tulsa with a nice chance.
They had some opportunities last weekend against the Real Monarchs. Just could not capitalize until that 90th minute when it was too late. But you see flashes of talent and opportunity. It just has not gone their way.
Yeah, such a frustrating game, I know, for Tulsa last week. Like you said, really had some good spells against the Real Monarchs, but again, just a couple mistakes, couple lapses, and then next thing you know, you're staring at 3-0, 4-0 late in the second half, and the game's over. So looking to avoid that fate here tonight.
Kleber back with that captain's armband on tonight, after he had been coming off the bench the past couple of weeks. Oh, through the wickets, up to McFarland. Not this time. As sprinting back, DJ Dean did not want to be on the wrong end of a highlight reel.
And you could see a lot of the Bolts attack is coming down that right flank. So they're getting those matchups that they like, the 1v1s. They think they can win it out there, and that's what they're using.
McFarland, strong toss. Kleber, the closest man for the Bold in the area. And Steidehar uncontested, able to get to that one. Again, Mason Steidehar on loan from Orlando City, now 15th start. We have seen 29 goals allowed under his watch, including 2 tonight. A couple of shutouts this year will not find number 3 this evening in Austin. Bold were shut out by Tulsa in the first half in their earlier meeting at One Oak. Tierpak back to Lima. Frame is open. And the ball chipped wide. Steinahar able to do just enough to intervene. Otherwise, it was Chamasi looking to make it 3-0.
And there you go. It's the counterattack again. Austin breaks. Look how quick it is. And what a nice ball from Tierpak. Gets it through. And just that layoff was just a little bit behind Chamasi. Otherwise, that's a goal.
We have seen men like Kleber, in that case Lima, trying to be generous, get other teammates involved. And they know they can turn and fire as well.
I mean, Lima and Kleber, they're so hard to defend. They're so hard to play against because they can just basically post up and the other guys can play off of that. And it's just, for a center back, it's just a complete nightmare to have to deal with that.
Roughnecks try one from 25 yards out. Diego Restrepo ready. Austin technically runs with 5 defenders, but at any given moment, you'll just see 3 men back with the outsides aggressively pushing forward, including Sion McFarland. It's already led to 1 goal tonight. Chamasi. Again, Steinahar is gambling early.
Steinahar coming way off his line to clear that. I was really surprised to see him do that, but there was a decision he was forced into with Chamasi Spies. Chamasi had won the ball there, and coming off his line, making the right decision.
He would rather see the bold striker around the 18 than at the 6. McFarland, flag stays down. Step back inside, trademark Sion McFarland. Perhaps one of the more offensively talented defenders in the USL Championship.
And this defense for Tulsa, Lincoln, it needs to be tightened up. They're getting beat too easily. They're allowing too much space.
Not even midway through. Again, we do expect a hydration break, as AJ Ajekwe attempted a bit of a scissor kick, but no threat on the Restrepo.
I think he was just trying to play to the overlapping Uzo, and maybe just with a softer touch he could have done it.
Diego Restrepo, 21st start in frame for the Austin Bold. Former national champion with those Wahoos in Charlottesville at Virginia.
They were lucky to avoid Furman, I think, in the tournament.
That's right. A little bias, eh? Chamasi paired with Lima up top. And then there's that guy named Kleber. The Gladiator not entertained this time.
Well, I think if you're Marcelo Serrano, you could not be more pleased with how your team has started. 2 goals in the first 10 minutes and still looking for more. And I'm sure that was the message that was preached all week this week in training, was get them down and then keep piling on the goals. Really make the 3 points won by halftime. And certainly with the way they're coming in waves and attack, there might be a couple more goals before the break.
3rd straight match on the road for Tulsa. A draw at Oklahoma City, a loss up in the mountains of the Real Monarchs. So I guess Tulsa best equipped to answer, would you rather play in the elevation or the heat? You would imagine they're more acclimated for the heat.
Most definitely.
Ball sent in, the Restrepo, no mistake. Right at eyebrow level. Tierpak. Fans on their feet. Chris Tierpak, one of the local products from just south of Austin in Dripping Springs. And you take a look, this is the final match of Copa Tejas for San Antonio. It would be a critical 3 points to launch them to the front of that 4-team race, as El Paso and Austin joining the fold this year.
Yeah, San Antonio up 2-0, but this counterattack right here, it was Tierpak starting it, playing off of Lima, and then getting a nice little 1-2 combination. He gets the ball back. Wanted the penalty, didn't get it, but boy, that was really nicely worked, and it was led by Tierpak.
Reminds you what Tulsa was missing last week. Cyprian Hedrick, the captain, back after sitting out with the suspension. Previously had made every start before sitting out against the Monarchs, as he was able to hold off the attack from Tierpak. Can he do it again? Kleber. Second touch to Chumasi. And there is the point to the spot, or is it just on the outside? And it's the aforementioned captain who will receive the card, Hedrick.
Yeah, tough to say. Definitely a foul.
It was an ambiguous point.
No. And that's, there you go. That's definitely inside the area.
Yeah.
That's a PK. So the PK for the Bold, but again, it just comes with Austin, the pressure that they're getting. Tierpak on that left wing, helping create chances.
Now, in the first month of the season, it was a no-brainer. Kleber would take this, and it does appear that he will take his own penalty here. Kleber used to be your leading goal scorer with 4 goals. Since then, we've seen Lima and Tierpak really emerge, as Kleber looking to end a bit of a drought. Back in the starting lineup tonight, as he will be engaged in this staring contest with Steinahar. Bold already up 2-0. Kleber finds the top right corner to his liking. The captain strikes and makes it 3-0.
And what a great finish there from Kleber. What a great penalty kick. Absolutely clinical. Done it hundreds of times in his career, I'm sure. Training and games. Knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. That's just exactly what you want out of a penalty.
I'm not familiar with the Brazilian time zone, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere, as Kleber celebrates this PK with the fans.
And now for Tulsa, you're staring at a 3-0 deficit, and you're not even half hour in as you see the celebration. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was might have been a Botafogo jersey, and then Marcelo Serrano also getting in on the act.
He was just playing the ball.
I don't think you get a card for that.
Brazilian on Brazilian crime. That's the first time anybody has celebrated with Coach Serrano, I believe, this year.
He was not expecting it with his back turned to play. But as I was saying, Lincoln, about Tulsa, and an effort there on goal, as you see, a weak header that Restrepo is able to collect easily. But Tulsa, it's at this point, you're down 3-0, not even a half hour in. You just got to think about getting something positive here before the end of the half. Just try to get a goal. Try to get some sort of something built before you go into halftime.
That was London Woodbury who was able to hold off Toby Uzo a moment ago there. Uzo looking for the header. Again, Uzo with his first goal of the campaign last weekend. Art, you talk about the fast start here for Austin. You know, one thing that stands out on the table is their goal differential. They've been flirting with hosting a playoff game even though they are on the negative side. That goes back to a 6-0 loss this past month at Phoenix. And Austin could very much make that a bit more attractive, closer to getting back into the black.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you always gotta look to score goals. Goal difference is huge, especially in this league, especially when it comes to looking to nail down a playoff spot or one of those home dates to start. So they are thinking about that. And Phoenix, everybody's losing to Phoenix, I know that, but that was a painful loss in particular.
Victories is your top tiebreaker when needed. That's why Austin right now in the table with 3 other teams with 33 points sits ahead of the other 2. But goal differential factors in as a subsequent tiebreaker as well. That would not favor Austin for many playoff-bound squads. A familiar look, Austin in transition. And you just don't know whom to pick up. This was a slow-to-start Austin team scoring-wise this year in the inaugural campaign. But once the fitness had kicked in and the chemistry had joined it as well out there on the pitch, you have a lot of options. Saramundo Chumasi now in his 8th match for the Bold on loan. And this will be a corner kick for McFarland and the Bold.
Yeah, the Bold they're taking advantage of this. There's a good chunk of space between that Tulsa back line and the midfield, and Austin's really making the most of that space, playing balls into that space. And so some of the wingers like the Tierpak, Chumasi, they're running into that space, and they're able to whip balls in, and Austin's taking full advantage of it.
And it is Edson Braffine who finally had his papers clear this summer. Otherwise, he was the most talented unavailable players in the USL Championship. Former national teamer for the Netherlands. Played in that 2010 World Cup in South Africa. His left boot about to be on display. Bold up by 3. And this one easily clears the crossbar off the head of McFarland.
I mean, what an amazing thing for the Bold to have that with Braffine. To have a player who played in a World Cup final be able to come in.
Another corner early for Austin. Let's check in with Allie.
Thanks, Lincoln. And talking to Tulsa head coach Michael Insian this past week, he said they knew that they'd have to be disciplined on set pieces when playing against the Bold, and for good reason, because 10 of Austin's now 33 goals this season have come from set pieces, although that last one they weren't able to convert. 10 of those 10 goals, 8 of those came off of corners, which is why going into this game this weekend, Tulsa was practicing, making sure this week that they were preparing for an Austin team that is very, very dangerous on those. And when I asked head coach Marcelo Serrano of the Bold how much time he spends in practice dedicating to set pieces, he says about 30 to 40%. So about the same percentage that they are able to convert on them. Practice does make perfect.
Allie,
Lincoln.
Thank you very much, Allie. Clever there, just picked up a yellow for the foul, but yeah, spot on with a guy like Sonny Guadarrama, usually available on these corners. He's been brilliant this year, not available tonight in the starting 11. But tonight's been a rarity, as Allie kind of pointed out. While that has been the trend, if you've paid attention to Austin tonight, it's been in the transition play.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting their goals on the break, on the counter. That's where they've been able to do most of their damage. Tierpak, Chumasi really doing most of that from the wings, and then going into center, going to the middle of the pitch, working with Kleber and also Lima. But the set piece, I mean, it was a big staple of last summer's Men's World Cup in Russia, and it continues to be a big part of the game, and there's no reason. There's obviously coaches are utilizing it, trying to make the most of it.
DaCosta. And Restrepo squeezed it on the fly. Again, they will keep an eye at all times on the Rodrigo DaCosta, most dangerous man on the pitch. Wore the captain's band last week for Tulsa. Those 8 goals, 7 assists. And there have been a few skills put on display tonight. Tierpak on the near side. Just so both sides of the stands can get a good look at number 19. Played his college ball at Houston Baptist. Looking for Kleber here. No miscue this time on the back line of Tulsa. 3 different goal scorers tonight. Chumasi, Lima, and Kleber.
And seeing these wingers switch right here, Chumasi and Tierpak, seeing them switch. I mean, very fluid from the Bold, able to switch. No problem. They don't miss a beat.
Left boot for McFarland. A tad tall for Lima. Tierpak tries to center it out to Kleber. And it's a foul on the Brazilian. And he needs to be careful. Again, Austin finished with only 9 men last weekend. A straight red and a pair of yellows. We do have our first hydration break a half hour in. As Andre Lima, one of our 2 goal scorers, chatting things over with our referee Farhan Datko. But it has been all Bold here early on at home tonight. Up 3-0 on Tulsa.
Yeah, so Lincoln, looking at this first half hour, Marcelo Serrano, head coach of the Austin Bold, like I said, he couldn't ask for anything more. He's got 3 goals in the first 30 minutes. They're off to a great start. They look like they're about to score some more that could easily come, but as you said, Kleber with that yellow card. The last thing Austin needs is a sending off. That's exactly the type of lifeline that you would be giving to Tulsa if you were to have a second yellow card and to have a sending off. So one of the keys that we mentioned at the very start of the game was keeping your head, staying disciplined. Don't want to go down a man, and give Tulsa a lifeline.
Now, Austin had a loss to New Mexico United back on May 25th. They avoided a defeat until finally San Antonio and Phoenix Rising handed them a couple this past month. But they were able to climb into 4th place finally with a win against Fresno here, a draw against New Mexico United in that rematch, but then the loss against LA Galaxy. With all that said, they have enough wins that it's helped make up for some losses, not even settling for draws, to keep them still in the top 5 at the moment. You have to like their chances of remaining at least in the top 5 with the early success.
Yeah, I certainly do. You know, they'll be in the mix. I know it's a tough schedule to end the season with a lot of road games, but the way the Bold they're playing right now, get as many points as you can right now, and then put yourself in a position where you can finish in the top 4. And certainly the performance tonight is helping that along.
The beautiful surface here at Bold Stadium.
Really, I mean, talk about remarkable.
This is a pitch that has
like 104 degrees every day.
And this is a pretty good-looking table as well if you are a fan of the inaugural side, Bold. Of course, you talk about first-year teams, have to include New Mexico United in that race as well. What a fan base they've had over at the Lab at Isotopes Park in Albuquerque.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It's great seeing that.
Can Tulsa find something positive here in the final 10-plus minutes of the opening half before heading to the locker room? That ball staying in play thanks to the hustle of DJ Dean with his 4th appearance on the year. Tulsa, what I love are the Tulsa ties of several of these players, including DJ, the pride of Union High School, made his pro debut back in June. Mentioned his head coach, a different Tulsa area high school, Michael Incian, out of Booker T, Washington, a former Hornet. He would like for there to be a little more orange on these kits. Altamirano with that delivery. And the opportunity still with Ajayqua and Tulsa. Lays it off for Ajayqua. Oh, he was cutting right through that defense until Braffide finally put his body on the line to intervene.
Yeah, nice little 1-2 that Tulsa works right there. And you know, no surprise to see a couple positive moments right here coming out of this hydration break. Winning themselves a corner kick, giving themselves a chance here. And Tulsa had a chance to regroup during that water break, talk some things over, tighten some things up. See if they can get a goal here before intermission, and then you're only down 2 goals going into the second half. It's a completely different game.
It's just the 5th match for Braffide. He had to, again, play the waiting game for his papers to clear the first half of this season. His most valuable role outside of practice was driving the teenager Julian Gaines to practice.
I don't think teenagers, they don't get driver's license anymore. They just Uber everywhere, right? Or they just get rides from friends or something. This is what I understand.
We will note that Vito Avila is on the lineup card, available to make his Bold debut. Could a lopsided advantage late in this match prove an opportunity for him? Beto this October will turn 19.
And what a proud moment it would be for Austin soccer in general if you could have Beto out there on the field, Sonny Guadarrama, some Austin products on that field.
Nice of him to step away from his presidential campaign. Stidahar has seen the ball, eclipse his line 3 times tonight. Lima going for the brace, Stidahar with the answer.
That's a fantastic save. I mean, this thing looks goal-bound. Cheap giveaway in the Tulsa half. It looks like it's going to be 4-0, but fantastic soaring save to his left.
From 20. And that left paw intervenes, but still a corner kick for Austin.
And as Allie was talking about just a few minutes earlier, a set piece to see what the Bold might have cooked up here.
And the 21-year-old goalkeeper out of Salem, Mass, keep his men organized. A regular on the U.S. U18 and U20 programs. Stidahar again on loan this year from Orlando City, which of course has its own ties to Austin. Maybe in the second half we'll dive into that. Braffund off the crossbar. Did it eclipse the line? They say no.
I mean, I was certain that was going to go into the back of the net. I don't know how that didn't go in, but they managed to keep it out.
It'll hit off the upper 90. Would have been an own goal almost. And right there, Tierpak has his shot deflected. Clearly never reached the goal line. A rare break tonight for Tulsa.
Boy, just a nice header there off of that corner kick. And again, a near set piece goal. That was right on it. So the skinny white friend coming to the rescue there of Tulsa. The woodwork doing the job.
Well, no luck in terms of Steidahar's stop initially, but then subsequently off the corner kick under attack once more. Another look as Braffai delivers.
And what a nicely played corner kick, too. Really have to say that. And Tulsa just having to scramble to clear that.
Would not have been an own goal, as McFarland did get his head on it, as you could tell from that angle. Moot point, though. It's a bold attack that's been moving forward, has been moving forward a lot more frequently than pedaling backwards. Again, that is a defensive player in Sion McFarland, and he's perhaps the best distributor you have.
Well, and they're able to do that. They're able to send those defenders forward to try to create from the wings and then playing into the middle, because there's really no threat coming from Tulsa. So they're able to push those players forward and to generate chances.
You see that wind whipping. Everybody in the bleachers welcomes that breeze. They'll keep it low. And will it be a handball? It is. Another penalty coming up for Austin. Well, that will be a different success story on the set piece from the corner.
And that's just one of those, when it rains, it pours for Tulsa. I mean, such a bad break. Really could have been avoidable, and it just strikes the arm. And that's sticks the arm out. That's intentional, and that is most definitely a penalty kick.
You know, there's close calls that you understand that why they don't get called a penalty, but Brian Reyes. And Kleber now for the second time, with only Steidahar standing in his way. 4-0. A brace for the Brazilian, each time from 12 yards out.
Cool as you like right there from Kleber. First time he does it from the spot, and then once again, just a great finish. 4-0, not even halftime.
You feel for any goalkeeper stuck staring down an offensive veteran like Kleber, just playing the guessing game.
And that's so tough. You know, you're a team that's suffering from a winless streak. You want to get on the road. You want a positive result. Try to get a win, if not a draw, and then those kind of mistakes. You give up 2 penalties in the first half, and it's just a killer.
So after going months stuck on 4 goals, number 5 and number 6 rear their head tonight for the Gladiator.
Goal scored in the 41st minute.
They're looking for Uzo. And this one, was that inside or outside? A penalty coming up for Tulsa, it appears.
Yeah, that's going to be inside the box. He was just right on the edge of the area, right on the inside edge of the area, and that is most definitely a penalty kick. Altamirano wants it. There's some negotiating going on there with DaCosta, but it looks like it's going to be Altamirano.
The man on the right without the ball has a resume that reads 8 goals this year. Another look. Yeah, clearly inside the 18.
Definitely a penalty, and that was McFarland.
Altamirano with 4 goals this year. The 29-year-old out of Honduras, where he's 6 times been capped by the national team.
And this is huge. I mean, they have to convert this. You want something positive going into the break. You conceded a penalty a few minutes ago. If you can just pull one back, you can get a goal, try to build some momentum.
Farhad Datko reminding him, on my whistle. Altamirano. There will be no clean sheet tonight for Diego Restrepo, sitting on 7 this year, as Altamirano gets the scoring started for Tulsa.
Well, that's just what they needed right there, and especially with DaCosta lobbying to take that spot kick. But Altamirano converts it, gives his team the lift. There you go. Nice little right footer. Restrepo goes to his left. Altamirano just right down the middle. Nicely done.
First time playing professionally outside of his home country. As Christian has his 5th goal now on the year.
And you can tell goals build confidence. You can already see from Tulsa right now, they want to get a second one here before halftime, looking for some more positivity.
Chumasi got the scoring started tonight. McFarland out wide. And able to hold off McFarland, at least for a moment, Luca Lobo.
And at the same time, Tulsa needs to be very, very careful because Austin's been hitting him on the break tonight. You don't want to concede right before the break.
Fans, make some noise.
Simply a toss here for the Bold.
Corner kick.
McFarland with his MLS resume, more recently with the Switchbacks in Colorado Springs. Sent into the masses. Kleber and Tierpak both standing on the same spot.
And that was a free header right there. He had the time, he had the space, just unable to get it on target.
And Steidehar gladly addresses this one to send it back up across the midfield stripe. This attack just does not let up.
Yeah, and they're finding, they've got such a good groove right now on either side. They're getting the passes that they want. They're getting the space that they want.
I haven't looked it up, but I'm going to go ahead and suggest the Bold have not squandered a 4-0 lead this year.
I don't think that's happened.
This is a team that's been a low-scoring squad that until their loss against San Antonio, actually all of their victories in the Copa Tejas had been by just a lone goal and several 1-0 decisions.
On that last ball right there, Uzo was there, and he had a little bit of space off the center back to try to get a header, but instead it goes over his head, but still with the corner kick off the clearance. So Tulsa with a chance.
Again, DaCosta, the 25-year-old out of Rio, played his college ball at Florida National. All 8 goals have been with that left boot of his, and of course delivering this time on the corner. But Restrepo able to get to it.
So good from Restrepo. You've got a swirling wind. He comes off his line. There's all sorts of bodies. A lot of goalkeepers in that situation might have bumbled the ball, might have fumbled it or whatever. But Restrepo really, really confident. That helps out your defensive line as well, knowing that you've got a goalkeeper who will come off his line and make that grab.
No fewer than 3 additional minutes of stoppage time in this opening half, already about a third of the way through it. Diego Restrepo, of course, when he won the Goalkeeper of the League award in this league, was with San Antonio FC in that goalkeeper battle with Matt Cardoni in the Alamo City.
And Lincoln, you kind of get the sense that maybe if this was still March or April, that Restrepo maybe doesn't make that grab cleanly, but now that he's so much more familiar with how the wind works out here at the Circuit of the Americas, that he kind of knows what to expect. And he was able to make that with confidence.
And that could have been a whole lot worse. You talk about that wind. That is an obvious topic the moment you get out of your car here. We are in the hill country. We are nestled into turn 15 at the Circuit of the Americas. As fortunately Restrepo goes low and avoids a logo imprinted on his forehead. Lima already won tonight. He made it 2-0. And it's going to be hard to get around that big frame of the 6'1" Brazilian Andre Lima. But a nice job by Sheldon to hold him off. And finally plucked away by Jaquia.
It's a chance spoiled right there for the Bull. That was a really nice ball played in by Tierpak from the left. Almost perfectly weighted, but Lima just not able to get around on it.
More optimism building here for the visiting side. But DJ Dean will have it plucked away.
And now Dean's got to hustle to get back because now you have McFarland streaking down the right and he's all by himself.
Resende sat out with suspension last week. Former Miami FC and Penn FC man. Of course, Penn FC will be back next year in League One. Opportunity. Ball spills loose, and a break for the Bold as the Restrepo could never collect it.
It was right there. Resende had it on his right foot. What a chance for Tulsa.
And that'll do it for the opening half. No shortage of fireworks. A total of 5 goals, the first 4 for the home side tonight, including a pair of penalties for Kleber.
Well, I think Tulsa, they'll feeling better about themselves going into the halftime break. Really had a chance at a second goal there from Resende. So if they can get an early score in the second half, it could get interesting.
Midway through in Austin, when we come back, we'll have a handful of goals to show you back at home in case you missed some early on. Bold have had a lead since minute number 2 tonight. Looking for another 3 points by the end of this evening's 90.
Of your Austin Bowl. Great for those who live fit and fun. Grab one today at the backyard and enjoy responsibly. Ascension Seaton is the official jersey sponsor and sports medicine provider for your Austin Bowl, ensuring the highest level of care and athletic performance for the team. A portion of jersey sales will also benefit Dell Children's Ascension. So be sure to grab yours today at the team shop located in the Grand Plaza.
Little ones agree, more is better. At Dell Children's, we feel the same. Our clinical expertise is more convenient. Our care teams and connection to the Dell Medical School at UT Austin means we have the most pediatric specialties in the region, including heart, brain and spine, emergency care, and more. The only comprehensive children's hospital in Central Texas. More. Only in Austin, only at Dell Children's.
Step up your stay at the Courtyard Marriott Austin Pflugerville and Pflugerville Conference Center, the official hotel partner of the Austin Bold Football Club.
This match is brought to you by Ascension Seaton, the official medical provider and sports medicine partner of your Austin Bold. By Courtyard, by Marriott. Step up your stay at the Courtyard Austin Pflugerville, where winners feel at home. And by H-E-B, the official grocery store of your Austin Bold. No store does more than H-E-B. Austin Bold with a 4-1 lead here at the break. Highlights and stats when we come back.
And it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to Dell Seaton Medical Center at the University of Texas for a very exciting announcement this morning, to where we're announcing that Ascension Seaton is both the title sponsor and the medical provider for the new Austin Bold here in Texas. So we're very excited for that. So when the players, athletes, or families need care, we're going to be there and have the people available for you on the field. And you can rest assured that Ascension Seaton and our affiliated physicians will be ready to serve. And so with that, I'd like to welcome up to the stage the owner of our new soccer team, the Austin Bold, Bobby Epstein. You know, I was trying to think of a lot of the similarities, and there are a lot of similarities between Ascension Seton and the work they do, and the Austin Bold, and the work we try and do. With all the giving you do, we want to be meaningful too. And for that, and to show our commitment to this community, the Bold are going to give 5% of all their ticket sales to Dell Children's Hospital.
Fortune can hit from here. Oh! McCarthy once more. Blasted back in, and it's a goal for North Carolina FC. Big shot and scored. And Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it.
Coming and off horror and in. What a move.
Shot blocked. Follow up. And that one blocked. Ball still loose.
Manley will try to create here. Gets it in. Here's Rowe. Up ahead. Continuing cuts back. Strike coming. And just beyond the reach of Mangles, it's in. Towards the box. Cuts around Ovalle. Goes down the strike. Philly on the save at the near post. Through the traffic. Knocks it on. Soto there. Back. The shot. And in. Post right. Soto. Off the bench. And putting Chattanooga up 2-1.
A little trickery now, maybe. McCabe goes for goal, and it's an excellent free kick. A long run-up produces a long-range effort from Niall McCabe. Not the first time that he cuts through from Dalgard. Dalgard still with it. He tees it up. Great effort, and a terrific opening goal for Hartford Athletic, coming by the way of Sebastian Dalgard.
Opportunities for the opponent. This ball comes in, headed away only to the top of the box. To Langsdorff, fully off the chest, and Portland has the lead in the 3rd minute.
Still Zach Sandy to drive, and what a save by Matt Pickens.
Sent in towards the back post, headed on. Calais Brown, what a save. John Moduro, watch him on the tail end of this. He knows how good of a save it is. He turns around, slaps a little high five. Devon George's going to be robbed. Calais Brown.
This match is brought to you by Dell Children's Ascension, the official charity partner of Austin Bold FC. Courtyard by Marriott. Step up your stay at Courtyard Austin Pflugerville, where winners feel at home. And by H-E-B, the official grocery store of your Austin Bold. No store does more than H-E-B. Well, of course, the headline in Austin is 4-1. We take a look at some of the headlines from around the USL Championship. But first here with the team specifically, Clever, a little banged up, missed the last 3 starts. We saw him come off the bench, including last week, inserted back in the starting lineup. A certain other young Brazilian will be on this roster soon enough in the Risi. And then, of course, homegrown Sonny Guadarrama back in the fold as well.
Yeah, good to know that Sonny is going to be back in the fold. Talked to him this week. He feels pretty good. Thinks he can get some minutes tonight. May not even need him tonight, but he's back in training and he's ready to go.
Both teams still in the locker room getting set for the remaining 45 minutes tonight. Plenty of fireworks in the opening 45. Austin Bold with the first 4 goals of the evening before Tulsa was able to strike back. Team starting to reemerge from the locker room. Austin Bold trying to bounce back from just their second home loss of the season when they fell to Los Dos 1-3 last weekend. It's a completely different start tonight as the Bold found insurance early and often in that opening half. Lincoln Rose, Arch Bell, Ali Trost back with you. And Arch, an eventful first half. It all got started back in minute number 2.
Yeah, I mean, the Bold just racing out, storming out of the gates here tonight at the Circuit of the Americas as we take a look at the highlights. And yeah, here we go, just into the second minute of play. Nice work from McFarland, and just the easiest finish of all for Chumase. Sends it in for his first goal of the year.
And both those guys were playing on the back line last week. It'd be a different Brazilian. Lima making it 2-0.
Yeah, and this time the attack came from the right flank. And there you saw Lima cleaning up. The ball bounces off of Kleber. Lima's there. Goal scorer's goal right there.
Kleber, who'd been sitting on 4 goals for the past couple of months, would find a brace each time from the penalty spot.
Yeah, and just as easy as you like it. That's like a rocking chair for Kleber. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Nice finish from the spot for the 3rd goal, and then again for the 4th.
As you felt for Steidehar or any goalkeeper in that situation, just left playing the guessing game, and maybe felt for head coach Marcelo Serrano as well.
That's a yellow for me, Lincoln.
Tulsa was able to respond with that penalty as well, as they were able to get on the board, pull it back within 3. You take a look at the numbers in a 4-1 matchup. What stands out to you?
Well, I think you look at the possession for Austin. They're doing well on that front, passing accuracy, but really just you see the way this game has transpired. It's all come from the wing play of the Bold. That's where the chances are coming, and they're really taking advantage of the space that's being left by the Tulsa defense.
Well, we look at what is just around the corner for Tulsa. They finally get to go home, as they will have a homestand after these 3 straight road matches, Las Vegas and Fresno, before they head back out to West Texas, South Texas. That'll be quite the turnaround, as those might be the same state, but they are not even the same time zone. And then back to see Orange County FC. And, of course, for the Austin Bold on the horizon, well, a trip to Oklahoma, but to take on the Energy before they resume Copa Tejas play with the start of September against RGV. And then a quick trip back out to Elevation against the Switchbacks for their 2nd meeting of the year. Again, for Austin, just trying to collect as many points as possible to lock up a playoff bid in their inaugural campaign. Some storylines from around the league, and we will be renaming the USL Championship Phoenix Rising's house Dollar Beer Night. We're just living it. We're just living in it. 14 straight victories, not just 14 straight unbeaten. And of course, you take a look at what Birmingham's been able to do. A great story on the USLChampionship.com website to read about Scott Crawford. And for the Red Bulls, for a guy like you who follows soccer at all levels, no surprise to see the job they've done at their youth level on up.
Yeah, I mean, they continue to take these academy players and move them up to the first team, and those guys go on to have great success. Tyler Adams, who's now excelling in the Bundesliga. Matt Miaska, who was signed by Chelsea, who's also playing in some of the top levels in Europe. So you see the Red Bulls Academy, really one of the best academies, one of the best reserve teams in MLS. They do such a great job in leveraging that academy, that reserve team, to then move players up to the first team, and then another one's on the way.
Did both coaches go in the locker room a moment ago and tell their team come out like it's 0-0?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because Marcelo Serrano is going to tell his Bold team to continue to look for a 5th, a 6th goal. That's what they want. They want to put Tulsa to the sword. Meanwhile, for Tulsa, a goal in these first 5 or 10 minutes, and then maybe the Bold's going to start thinking, uh-oh, here we go again, coughing up a lead here at home. So it's going to be really interesting to see how these next 15 minutes transpire before the hour mark and how things unfold.
For the sake of transparency, for those of you just joining us, it is not 0-0. As, again, 4-1, we did see Cristian Altamirano take the penalty after a little debate with DaCosta, but Altamirano found his 5th goal of the year to pull it back within 3. And the Bold will begin the second half.
And it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments, if any, Tulsa have made during the break. I'm sure certainly the message will be to get better in defense, to get more compact. See if they're actually able to carry that out here in the second half.
This was a 3-1 Bold victory against Tulsa at Tulsa earlier this year, when Tulsa scored first And in the second half, Chris Tierpak came on to score a second half hat trick. As Tierpak, one of the few bold starters who has not scored tonight. Lincoln Rose, Kip McConico with you tonight. And of course, Allie Trost patrolling the sideline. Let's check back in with Allie.
Thanks, Lincoln. While a very happy head coach Serrano for the Bold was the first one in the locker room, a not so happy head coach Incian was still lingering on the bench, talking with his coaching staff, going over some paperwork and things like that, talking through strategy. But I was able to catch up with Serrano, and he told me that they have to come out and just play their game in the second half in order to close it out. He said it's not every single game that they're able to get off to as big of a lead as they've been able to in this game. Therefore, they just need to do everything they can to keep it, be very disciplined on defense, and try and increase that by 5-6 goals if they possibly can. On the other side, for Tulsa, Incian was screaming at his team throughout the end of that first half. Play simple, play smart, close it in, giving a lot of direction. So we'll see if any of those directions are followed and implemented in the second half.
Allie, thank you very much. Again, appreciate the update from both locker rooms. Again, Michael Incian hired this offseason to take over this club that last year just secured 3 victories, finished 17th in the West. They sit in 17th right now. A lot of upside and a nice start back in the spring, only to hit some obstacles this summer.
Yeah, tough going too. Incian, he was named Coach of the Month in the early part of the season, but that winless streak, that Chris Tierpak here, a hat trick, that was a big part of that too. That was kind of maybe one of the things that was the kickstart of that winless streak that the Roughnecks find themselves involved in. And boy, I mean, even a come-from-behind draw here would feel like a victory if they could do that.
Yeah, the saying comes to mind, if it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. Tulsa has found different ways to see those 3 points elude them. Okugo serving a suspension last weekend after one of his best matches with a brace for his only 2 goals of the year in the prior outing for the Bold in that 2-2 draw at New Mexico United in the clash of the expansion sides.
That was really something. I mean, the defender, that will happen. They'll just come in, they'll score his first goal, and then next thing you know, he gets another one.
That was off those set pieces that had Tulsa so concerned. Copa Tejas starting to get a little bit tighter down in South Texas as RGV pulls back within 1 with a little over 10 minutes to go. Tulsa trying to pull back within 2 goals, and no, a foul on the Roughnecks. As Uzo, the guilty party. First start this year for Toby, 12th appearance now. Mentioned he came off the bench for a goal against the Monarchs to make that final scoreline a little prettier.
Yeah, I got to say, Lincoln, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought maybe you might see a change from Tulsa during halftime, but still with the same 11, unchanged for the start of the second half.
Both sides with all 3 substitutions available to them. Lots of reasons for the fans to smile tonight. And it does appear Manny Gonzalez has come on here to start the second half for Tulsa. Pride of Fort Lauderdale and Florida Gulf Coast University, making his 19th appearance. So typically getting the start for Coach Incian. Well, Chiamasi's goal has been answered by Tulsa. Right now it's Lima sitting on the potential game winner, and Kleber with a pair of insurance goals from the penalty spot.
Okay, yeah, so Tulsa with a change at the break. So not surprising to see that. I was expecting maybe 1, if not 2 changes.
And this ball back over to the Bold. It was a Bold side with general manager Roberto Pinto da Silva, his head coach Marcelo Serrano, both with high expectations in year number 1. There were 3 trophies they wanted at the end of the year. They wanted the U.S. Open Cup with some of the experience they have on this squad. DaCosta And DeCosta's disadvantage there, all 8 of his goals have come off his left boot. That would have been a time for him to shift over to the right, just couldn't do it. But Copa Tejas, a second potential trophy, and then, of course, the title here in the USL Championship. 2 of those 3 are still within reach for the expansion side.
I have to say, they certainly gave it a good run in that U.S. Open Cup, going toe-to-toe with the Houston Dynamo before being eliminated.
First ever matchup with an MLS side. Lima. Tierpak, will he return the favor? And no mistakes on that back line for the Roughnecks inside the 6.
But that was really well worked there by the Bold, especially that communication between Tierpak and Lima, putting pressure on that Tulsa defense.
A chance to bring this match back within 2 goals. Flirting with the perimeter of that 18. Ball sent in, looking for Uzo. Makes it about 2/3 of the way to number 9. That's as close as it would get. Gonzalez with the freshest legs as Manny sends it out one. Your lone goal scorer, Altamirano, drawing attention. And you just look, the urgency for the back line for Austin, you can't tell by looking at them, just such calm demeanor. And perhaps that's where the age factors in. Oh, slip through, but Restrepo gets to it first, keeping it off the boot of Uzo.
I tell you what, Lincoln, in the first 5-6 minutes of the second half, you're seeing a much improved, a better Tulsa, and it's because of Gonzalez's entrance into the game. He has really helped stabilize that midfield for Tulsa. They had tons of gaps there in the first half, and they were being gutted by that Bold attack. With Gonzalez in that midfield now, they're a little bit more solid, and they've got the numbers that they want there.
It was a great feed from DeCosta. But we've seen a couple times tonight London Woodbury able to do enough to allow his goalkeeper to be the first man to the ball. The aforementioned Woodbury. Again, Austin without 2 more defenders tonight after 1 straight red and 1 pair of yellows last weekend. As they are down a pair of Jamaicans tonight.
And you can just tell, though, the shape is better from Tulsa. I think if you're a Tulsa fan, you have reason to feel maybe you might not be able to get it back to 4-4, but get a goal or 2 here. Any bit of positive momentum helps.
Those Locos up a little over a half hour in against Tacoma. Great to have 4 teams in the Lone Star State these days here in the USL Championship. And then another one in League One with FC Dallas's side.
You know, watching Resende here for Tulsa, he was with that El Paso team that played to a 0-0 draw here in the earlier part of the season. Came on as a substitute, so getting a chance to see Resende more, and he's had a couple chances tonight.
Cyprian Hedrick, I believe, a former teammate of Chris Tierpak when they were both in San Antonio, able to pluck that one away from the former Dripping Springs High School Tiger. And Reyes strays a little far on that throw. He'll redo it. 9th start of the year for Reyes. About half his appearances have come off the bench. Tierpak was able to poke it to Daviardi. Sends a ball in, still with the Bold, at least for a moment. Till Sheldon comes in. And a foul on Chuamasi. Much slower start to the second half, and that's to the credit of Tulsa's attack. Austin had just about a 2-0 lead at this point in the first half.
As we're working our way into the second half and legs are starting to get tired, you'll be interested to see how Serrano decides to use his substitutes. It's such a hot day today, hot start to the game. if he's maybe thinking 60th, 65th when he's going to start to bring on some fresh legs to try to nail this one down. Looks like one's coming on right now.
Yeah, we'll have first substitution for Coach Serrano. And, well, we'll give Derek Smolik a break on that. Ferris Abdi coming on for Sarah Mooten.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the 56th
there it is.
So for Abdi, his 6th appearance this year. The 20-year-old out of Saudi Arabia after he was born in San Diego. Saw some time at the IMG Academy as a youth and spent a year with the UVA soccer program. A rare appearance this year for a man who's been capped by the national team in Saudi Arabia after previous experience with the USA 18 and unders.
Yeah, that's no small feat. Saudi Arabia, World Cup team in Russia a year ago, so certainly lots of quality there. But this is a good sub from Serrano. Bring in some fresh legs from midfield, help control this game.
Tulsa's back line able to handle that pressure well. Early look at Abdi. DaCosta just trying to create a little chaos in the 18. Lots of contact, a lot of people standing around waiting for a whistle. That'll never come.
Well, that was in the mixer there. It was right there for DJ Dean to pounce on it, and he just couldn't. But the link-up play is better from Tulsa.
Boy, just a moment ago, that ball lingered. First, almost to the detriment of Austin, waiting for a foul. But Tulsa failed to be aggressive after this. As a result, Austin almost had the counter.
Yeah, you would have liked to have seen Dean maybe just be a little bit more aggressive and trying to get to that ball, trying to weave his way through a sea of bold shirts. But again, it was the link-up play there with DaCosta that eventually led to that chance.
Sheldon again able to pick the pocket, poking that one away. He's had some nice moments tonight. And Matt out of Bellevue, Washington. This upcoming week, he'll turn 27.
And I don't think a long ball like that is gonna help Tulsa's case. There needs to be a little bit more building up from the back, playing it through the midfield and up top to Uzo or to whomever to try to get something going.
Still over a half hour to play in this one. The sun has long since set on this Saturday in the state capitol. 4 first-half goals for the Austin Bold, 2 from the penalty spot. Tulsa would retaliate with a successful penalty of their own from Altamirano. His 5th goal.
That's a good run. So yeah, you can see here the Tulsa's definitely their setup better. There's a nice run there on their right. I think that was Altamirano making the run on that earlier play. But they're winning back the balls. They're losing possession, but they're winning it back.
Resende. And Luca Lobo, the youngster, 21-year-old out of Sao Paulo, emerging from one of the top Brazilian youth clubs, making his way to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We talk about great backdrops for soccer in the USL Championship. Certainly one of the hill country here. That too tall for Uzo, but Tulsa with that downtown skyline as well from the ballpark, the home of the Tulsa Drillers where they play. Always great, one of the great scenes with the sun setting. They will be back home soon enough for a home stand.
Tulsa Drillers, they've kept that nickname, that name, all this time.
Roughnecks and Drillers go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Another substitution as Dean has his day come to a conclusion.
The Tulsa Roughnecks coming off, number 23, DJ Dean. Coming on, number 17.
And in his place, it is going to be Montpremier, as Fredlin Montpremier, the 22-year-old Haitian, makes his 8th appearance, pardon me, his 14th appearance. Half of them off the bench this year. Spent his college career at Fairleigh Dickinson here in the States. Oh, well played into Lima. Just a tad heavy. And flag is up, I believe, offside.
I'm sure Montpremier and every other Haitian out there was following the Gold Cup with great interest. With Haiti making a run to the semifinal, it's just a fantastic tournament, Gold Cup tournament for Haiti, and also Haiti AS Capois making it to the CONCACAF League. So Haitian football really has been flexing its muscles lately, and you see it with some of the Haitian players in the USL.
We never saw the Gold Cup ratings for the Austin, Texas market. Such a big market for the Women's World Cup. You just want, even for matches that did not involve the U.S.
Oh, I'm sure they're. I'm sure they were very good.
I wonder what the ratings were for another matchup that may not have involved
absolutely
the homeland.
Mexico, Costa Rica, I'm sure was good, as was the Mexico-Haiti semifinal.
Roughnecks, again, the most recent team to score there at the end of the first half. Can they put a couple together? As Lima, the target forward at 6'1", goes down. After getting tangled up with Hedrick, the captain. As Tierback has it plucked away.
Well, Tierback, I mean, still going full steam out there. Just such a fun player to watch. Just the energy that he brings, the passion. Dripping Springs High School, so from the local area. Such a fan favorite.
Yeah, he and Sonny Guadarrama, your two local talents who have been well-traveled. Sonny, a decade in Mexico. Chris has been with a variety of successful squads from Major League Soccer, USL Championship. Led Austin's former PDL side to a national championship, the former Aztecs.
And there were so many local Austin products on that Aztecs team as well. So that was just kind of gives you an idea of the talent that hails from this area. There are a lot of good players that come from the Austin, Texas area.
Get to see several of them return in matches here in the USL Championship.
Nice turn.
McFarland sends a dagger in and almost friendly fire as Steinahar runs into his own man. And concern now after that collision.
Boy, that was good work from McFarland. Deep cross, and then just some miscommunication there. And that's going to definitely hurt.
Again, Luca Lobo, pardon me, over there checking on, I believe that's Hedrick.
It all started with that turn from McFarland, and yeah, that's Hedrick who takes the spill. Ooh, that looks like that looks like where a wrist or a shoulder can get hurt. You know, stuck out that arm. Hard to say for sure.
They're treating that leg where he may have had contact with his keeper.
Yeah, that might be too.
Again, Cyprian Hedrick. We've seen him in this league with Oklahoma City and the Energy, San Antonio FC. Also seen time with Sporting KC and Phoenix. And hopefully he's able to come back on soon enough.
Captain, he's got to shake it off.
Each side has made one substitution so far. I say that. Tulsa's now made two as of a moment ago. Tulsa started off well in the opening minutes here in the second half with some offensive opportunities. But still a fairly low-stress night for that man, Diego Restrepo. You know, we saw even shots on target in the first half in our statistics, but not many of those. Tough stops for Restrepo, well off his line at times, fielding one off a hump.
Exactly, and then at the other end you had one with a top-notch save, and then another one that hit the crossbar. So Bold easily could have had 5, if not 6, in that first half.
Yeah, that was McFarland receiving a corner kick when it went off the upper right 90 of the woodwork. Tierpak maintains balance. Lobo does just enough to thwart him. Braffon. And Kleber knew better than to go crashing into the opposing keeper. Woodbury, again, his second start of the season. Now each of these past 2 home matches. I was talking about Okugo in that brace 2 weeks ago. You feel for some of the top defenders in this league. You know, you'll make the team of the week in the USL Championship when you score goals, but I don't know if they have enough guys fighting for them otherwise to make the team after a solid clean sheet outing.
And that's a giveaway that Tulsa has right there. You just can't afford to do that. And no, you're absolutely right. The point about the defenders.
It's who your top offensive defenders wind up on that team.
And you know, so many times like when you see the best center backs in the game of soccer, and they just occasionally they get on the score sheet. Not everybody can be like a Sergio Ramos and score big goals, but you know, your Virgil van Dijks of the world at Liverpool, I mean, those are really the guys who they're just able to shut down the best attacking players in the world. And that's what the best center backs in this league do, is they're able to shut down the best forwards in the league.
Again, Abdi, the lone substitution so far for Marcelo Serrano. We saw him involved a moment ago, and the flag up will bring this ball back.
But I like what Abdi's done. He's that fresh legs. I think it's kind of given Austin a jolt, and they've seemed to wrestled momentum back in their favor a little bit.
Chuamasi, the guilty party there.
Ladies and gentlemen, an Austin Bowl substitution taking place in the 68th minute. Coming off the pitch, number 19, Chris Tierpak.
There will be no Chris Tierpak second half hat trick, as they will instead bring on the other local boy, Sonny Guadarrama. It's a Cedar Park Timberwolf coming on for the Dripping Springs Tiger.
So that's an old District 25 4A swap, 25 or 23 4A swap, Lincoln, I forget, 25. Little SEC they called it. Anyways.
We won't date these guys like that. Sonny at 32 years young comes on for Tierpak. Both of them former SAFC men as well. Teammates last year in the spring. And Chris disappointed he could not be a part of the goal-scoring parade in that opening half. So often a super sub, and eventually he forced the hand of Marcelo Serrano, having to start him with as well as he has played.
You know, for a player like Guadarrama, I mean, he takes so much pride in being able to play in front of his hometown fans, in front of the city of Austin, and you know, those, you could almost tell like it was so personal for him. You know, losing those late leads, he absolutely hated it. And so he was speaking with him this week. He was just so adamant about the importance of coming out, not only getting a win, but getting a win in emphatic fashion for the Bold this week. They're doing that so far, and it's going to be up to Guadarrama and company to finish it off in these last 20, 25 minutes.
Sonny Guadarrama is one of the few men who have a key to the electric box to turn out the lights. He's always one of the last guys signing autographs here, as even in his shorter stature, the young fans, a lot of them he has coached, sticking around so he can sign shoes and kits. Ball sent in. DaCosta may have been offside regardless. Restrepo with that one.
Does that include the concessions? Can we?
We'll check with him.
Okay.
See if there's anything left. But he will stick around and go through a couple of Sharpies. And this is with the thick resumes that some of his teammates have internationally.
And every kid wants his autograph.
Here is Sonny G. Guadarrama. Left-booted delivery. Tad tall for Lima. But Kleber will track it down. One second half sub to the other, back and forth. Yeah, Sonny and Chris Tierpak hoping with the emergence of a team like the Bold that all the talent in Central Texas, instead of leaving home, can stick around to begin their professional careers.
Because there's certainly, I mean, there's been very good talent coming through this area. Kakuta Mane is a name that comes to mind. Kyrie Shelton, who's playing in Germany.
Braffon. Kleber. Oh, that has worked a few times this year. Uzo. Flag up, offside. A bit too open.
Yeah, and that was close. That was not a bad idea. There's a good pass there from Altamirano, but Uzo just a hair offside. If he'd held up his run just a slight bit more, maybe it's a different story.
And we mentioned Uzo out of Nigeria earning his first start of the year tonight. Bold not in the clear. No goals produced here in the second half. A 4-1 scoreline that we held at the break, still intact. And Restrepo will keep it that way a bit longer.
I think for Tulsa, as we enter into the 73rd minute, a tall task to get 3 goals to try to get a point, but boy, what a big thing it would be for them to keep a clean sheet in the second half and get a goal, basically win the half. So you're on pace right now to not win the game, but if they can win this half, keep a clean sheet, get a goal, then that's something to build on as the season ends into the kind of the final phase of the regular season.
Tomoda Viardi, a couple years back, taken by Minnesota United in the Super Draft, one of their first ever MLS draft choices. Going full speed ahead that time, but didn't have a purpose, winds up committing the foul. Gonzalez, second half change. Gonzalez will have that one deflect off a Bold body.
Yeah, nice from Gonzalez, winning a 50-50 ball, getting off a shot.
Well, of course, Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship in many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, you can visit SelectSportAmerica.com. That Select ball has found itself in the back of the net 5 times tonight, all in the first half. The first 4 for the men in black, most recently for the visitors in white. Kleber with 2 of those goals, Lima with 1. Chuamasi with the opener. And Tulsa looking for its own transition opportunity, but short-lived. And another foul here will allow us to remind you that you can follow both the Bold and the Roughnecks and the rest of this USL Championship all season on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. You can join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com, and your broadcasters certainly appreciate the easy-to-access archives on ESPN+.
Absolutely.
Sometimes Art strays over into the cornhole and hot dog eating contest archives, but for the most part, football.
The Iowa championships are my favorite.
This may have a chance into traffic. First touch from Uzo, but nothing more. And this will cross the inline off the boot of Resende. It's so easy to follow these two teams. And of course, you can also get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for the Bold or the Roughnecks and simply click the follow button. Keep up with their latest news and scores. You can also get a reminder on these two teams' next matches. Again, all that on the expansive ESPN.com. You can simply click to follow your favorite club. Kleber, eyes up pitch. purple stuff. Cola. Could it be Sonny G? Not this time.
And you know, Sonny wanted to finish that off. He started it with that cross-field pass that he flighted over to the right and worked his way all the way back to the left, was set there, and he just couldn't get the ball from between his feet to get the shot off. But you see what Guadarrama brings to it. There's the ball that lays it off. He's right there, and it just rolled a little bit behind him, and by then the defense had clamped down on him, and he was not able to get a shot off. But
Brian Ray is able to kill the favorable angle.
Yeah, but that was well worked by the Bold.
It's been a busy night for Daviardi, at least here in the second half.
Yeah, he's had a good game. You know, not somebody who's going to earn too many headlines, but he works hard, helps teammates.
I love
good
it.
Work ethic.
Thomas from France, so I guess he went to the most French-sounding university he could in Duquesne, but of course that's in Pittsburgh. He would wind up his career at Delaware. Raffine, offside. If it was 0-0, he might be protesting a bit more. Kleber intentionally striding over that ball. Lima unable to return it. Back to the captain. DaCosta still searching for that 9th goal.
Yeah, not on the same page right there. He was expecting Zephyrin to make the run down that right, and just a lack of communication there from the Roughnecks.
You see those bleachers off in the distance again. That's part of Turn 15 here at Circuit of the Americas, the only F1 racetrack in North America. Just on the southeast side of Austin. And come November, good luck finding a hotel room within an hour. You will find more helicopters and private charters than empty hotel rooms this winter. From the edge of the 18, Jomasi had the opener tonight. Lima had goal number 2. And the defense went to sleep. So did the officials' whistle, at least for a moment. Finally, the flag went up.
And that ball just kind of bounced on the top of the crossbar, but of course negated by the offside.
Before there was boomerang, there was the right boot of Andre Lima. That's a reference for everybody under the age of 17. As Marcelo Serrano about to make his final change, Andre Lima will come off after finding his goal tonight. And in his place for the Bold, it is the debut here in Austin for Vito Avila, the 18-year-old out of Hutto, Texas, as the Hippo will come on.
Hoppin' Hippos, Vito Avila coming onto the game. What a special moment this is for that young man as he makes his Bold debut.
This is at the heart of what this game and what the existence of this league is all about, especially here in Austin, growing it from the ground up.
And really just a proud moment for everybody who loves soccer in the city and supports the players who hail from this city. It's a wonderful sight to see.
Beto, who has come up through Lone Star, of course, so well known and respected throughout the region, and developing young talent. Avila dancing with Hedrick. Avila inside the 18. And the captain finally able to pluck it away from the teenager.
And he's certainly come on with tons of energy. Races down that left. Wins it, tries to sneak in a ball there at the near post, and then tries to win the ball back in the area. So Avila trying to make the very most of his minutes.
Beto's seen too many Disney movies. He just assumed that was his moment.
Definitely still time to come, though. I have to think he's going to get Guadarrama would love, I'm sure, to set him up with a goal-scoring opportunity.
Still have to squeeze in a couple of musical numbers first. Scoreless second half after 5 goals in the opening 45 minutes tonight. Most recent goal from Tulsa at the end of the first half on a penalty. Uzo has been close a few times, knocking on that door of Diego Restrepo. And with Beto's debut, again, a chance to remind you that the USL unveiled its elite youth program earlier this season, the USL Academy, allowing clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, you can visit uslsoccer.com/academy. Vito Avila, Julian Gaines, the 2 teenagers with the Austin Bold, local talents. Before them, names like Tierpak and Sonny Guadarrama. And another trip to the penalty spot coming up the hard way as Avila earns the call.
Well, Avila, it's a great run. It's a perfectly flighted ball in from Sonny Guadarrama. Avila wins the PK, and hopefully that's nothing too serious. I think he's going to be okay. Looks like he's going to get up on his feet. If you see the pass here from Guadarrama, I mean, perfectly weighted. Avila right there in front of the goalkeeper, and yep.
So Beto's going to have a chance to find the back of the net, perhaps, or will he concede it to the other local product? Sonny Guadarrama has placed this ball on the spot, and it appears this will be Sonny's ball.
Sonny says, respect your elders. I played the pass. I get the PK.
It is Guadarrama. Sitting on 1 goal. It was a brilliant one here at home earlier this spring.
Yeah.
3rd penalty strike tonight for the Bold. Guadarrama makes it 5-1.
Well, what a great way to return from injury. Sonny Guadarrama getting a goal in front of the home fans. He's really come on. He's played so well since coming on here in the second half. And why not go celebrate with your home city?
Those are the fans who have been chanting his name all season long. Earlier in the match, they were screaming, "We want Sonny G." They are not disappointed. Marcelo Serrano puts him on in the second half, and he makes no mistake. Looking Steidehar, he was hoping to the right. Steidehar guessed right, just could not deny it.
Yeah, just too much pace there from Guadarrama on the penalty kick, and he set it up with that pass into Avila. Avila wins the PK. The veteran gets the spot kick and converts. So really, you couldn't have asked for a better night if you're Austin Bold head coach Marcelo Serrano.
For a fraction of a second, I thought Sonny was placing that ball in a ceremonious manner on the spot so that Beto, another youngster from the area, could take it, but no, we knew better. As Restrepo squeezed that one in, Uzo again so close.
You did watch you watched Disney at some point
That's right.
today, I think it sounds.
Next week we'll talk about the Marvel Universe.
And it just goes to show you the class and the quality that the Bold possess on the bench. So just when they were just starting to kind of have a little bit of issues with Tulsa at the start of the second half, they were able to go to their bench. They can bring on Abdi, they can bring on Guadarrama, then you can go to a young kid like Avila, and there you go. They wrestle back control, they get a goal, and now they've really put this one away with that 5th score.
Well, it appears certain now the Bold will, in fact, lock up 3 points tonight. That'll keep them at least in the top 5 and maybe put them back in the running to host in the postseason as a top 4 seed. I don't think it's going to quite close the gap with #1 Phoenix just yet. Ball sent in off the crossbar, and Uzo just cannot buy any luck despite his efforts. And a whistle blows play dead.
But that was hammered by Uzo, and so frustrating for him tonight. What a chance. Oh, and just stinging the crossbar with a shot. It was right there. Montpierre was waiting for a ball there at the back post. Uzo went at it alone, and just maybe 2 inches from scoring a goal.
I'll look forward to the upcoming Wednesday night action. Again, tune in to ESPN News August 21st, as it'll be a clash of a couple of the powerhouses in the East. North Carolina FC welcoming Eastern Conference leader Tampa Bay Rowdies, with playoff positioning battles heating up. You can see it again this upcoming August 21st on Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN News. Good old-fashioned NASL clash in the
definitely
USL Championship East these days. Rowdies and North Carolina FC over at Wake Med. Talk about a couple of great venues, great fan bases.
Yeah, long-time fan bases, especially down there in Tampa. The Rowdies have been around a long time.
Raffide back to Guadarrama. Edson stays on side.
You know, just seeing the first moments here of Avila on the field. Lincoln, you see the pace, you see the speed that he has. Has such a chance to be a difference maker. But what great pace from that young man, and what an opportunity for him to learn. You know, he's in training every day, playing with guys like Kleber, Lima, guy who played in a World Cup final in Brafide. Guadarrama, of course, the local product. So much experience and wealth that he gets to see in the locker room, on the training field, and it's only going to benefit him.
Well, again, Brafide, the Dutch national team, a guy who's just been his Uber driver for much of this campaign. Quick water break for Diego. This is the second time this year Austin has posted 5 goals, both times at home. They did it earlier this year against the struggling Switchbacks. That was the final game for, at the time, the only head coach that the Switchbacks had known, and Steve Trittschuh, before they would make an interim promotion. And Abdi keeping that one away from Uzo, who is still hungry for that goal. Stick around, we'll have a chance to chat with a member of the victorious Bold. 4 different goal scorers producing the 5 goals as that one goes wide. 3 of the 5 goals tonight for Austin. The last 3 of these 5 have all been simply penalties from the spot, but none of which controversial. You know, for a night where you have 4 PKs, all of them have been pretty easy decisions for Farhad Dadko.
I would say so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been, you wouldn't have needed VAR at all for those 4 penalties called, and then on that last play right there, DaCosta, he'll be kicking himself for not converting that one. He really should have scored to at least made it 5-2. But it's going to be really interesting to see how Tulsa, they'll get back home, and they'll definitely be glad to be back playing in front of the home fans and try to get that win. And I just think if they can just push on, if they can just play that a complete 90 minutes where they can have a good defensive performance, most importantly, and then be able to get like a if it's a 1-0 win, 2-1, whatever it is, but just to get a win, it's going to help them a lot.
Uzo trying to take it himself and tap it around the defender. And he has certainly left it all out there. Again, Austin, as long as they've been in the playoff hunt, have been negative on the goal differential, and this will help get them closer back to even.
Yeah, of course, and that's right. That's the flip side right there. Yeah, it's you come out and you score 5 goals, then you're going to definitely be feeling good about yourself, and especially with some important fixtures coming up for the Bold, specifically on the road. So you're getting a chance. You're getting a guy like Avila's getting some minutes. Abdi, who hasn't played a lot this season, he's gotten some really important minutes tonight. So, and you, Guadarrama is rounding into form. So Lima, Kleber, all these guys being healthy is really going to help this Austin Bold team.
Brian Reyes picking up the caution. Just 2 minutes of stoppage time. With all the substitutions, you could possibly argue for a little more, but with the score, I don't think they were suspecting Tulsa was going to be denied a comeback effort if they went on the conservative number.
And I think another big thing for Austin tonight is the fact that, discipline-wise, a couple of yellow cards, you can live with that. It's going to happen. So you've avoided the injury bug. You had that one little scare with Lima in the first half, but it looks like he was okay. Guadarrama's back healthy, like as I mentioned. Kleber and Lima are healthy. No red cards, so if you can start to get people off of suspensions, guys are healthy, and then you head into the fall thinking, okay, now we can make a push for the top 4, solidify that, and start thinking about your playoffs.
How long will Beto be out with the broken heart when Sonny took the penalty? One day.
You'll get your ending, Lincoln. I'm sure the Disney ending is coming.
Roughnecks looking for number 2, and Restrepo fortunate that there was no other Tulsa player to try to clean up that shot from Montpremier. And there is your final whistle. It was a 4-0 start for Marcelo Serrano's Bold, bouncing back from last week's home loss as he embraces Michael Incien, head coach for Tulsa, as the Bold will keep all 3 points right here at home to once again climb higher in the West in a pursuit of a home playoff spot in that opening round. When we come back, a chance to speak with the victorious Bold on this still sweltering Saturday night in Central Texas.
Don't forget, folks, players will be available for autographs. And come join the Austin Bold in the Velocity Lounge for dinner and drinks. Open until 11 p.m.
A 5-1 final as Tulsa's still looking for that first victory since late April. Bold standing in their way. A tough matchup here in Austin always as the Bold bounces back 5-1. And that'll lead to a big smile on the face of head coach Marcelo Serrano, who is with Ali Trost.
Thanks, Lincoln. Standing by with head coach Marcelo Serrano of the Austin Bold. Marcelo, we talked this past week about how the Bold have been so successful because of the experience this team has. 3 of the 5 goals came from your veterans. What can you say about the influence that experience had on tonight's match?
Yeah, it's not easy to convince players like the caliber that we have, World Cup finalists, to come and use the experience for us. This league is so much on counterattacks, on speed, but here we were able to manage both sides. Of course, that It's a lot yet to fix, but for the first year, keeping up like this, I think this is 2 or 3 months already that we are in the top. Congratulations to the players, to the ownership that's doing a good job, and it's important to have those guys to teach the youngsters as well.
3 penalty kicks. How pleased were you with the refereeing of tonight's match, especially given some past games where players have been given red cards and some unhappiness after some of those results?
Yes, we were having some problems with referees in the other games. Congratulations on this ref. Like perfect match that he did, and hopefully they keep growing,
We talked at halftime about how your team needed to come out, close out this game, play their game. How happy were you with the second half performance that your team showed to lock this one up with a win?
Yeah, as our game plan, we came for it and scored 3 goals right away. Of course, when the games go that well, we can control the game by the ball speed. So we changed a little bit of the game plan, and they did the second half, control the ball speed, and people that came from the bench did a good job. Just one more thing, we had 7 players not playing tonight. So we came with our depth of the team right now because of injuries is not great, and having a great performance with 7 guys out, I think they did an amazing job.
Thanks, Coach. Enjoy this victory.
Thank you.
Ali, thank you very much. Always great to hear from Marcelo Serrano, as we will see if we can track down one of our men of the match in just a moment. But Arch, what a way for the Austin Bowl to bounce back from last week's rare home loss.
Yeah, I mean, 2 red cards, and you have an early lead that you squander, and then you lose to Los Dos 3-1. But to come back, and this is a big statement. You wanted to take care of this team early. 3 goals in the first 30 minutes did that. Pretty much iced things. Didn't let Tulsa really build any significant momentum in the second half. Took care of business. A great professional business-like win for the Austin Bold.
A lot of matches, 4 penalty kicks would define the match more so, but Austin was able to find those first 2 through the run of play and able to put it away early.
Yeah. I mean, the story was the break, the transition game for the Bull, the offensive transition, the way they were able to counterattack using both flanks. I mean, full credit to players like Chris Tierpak. So I mean, they were really sensational. Chumasi was great as well.
Ali tracking down perhaps one of our men of the match, already popular with the local media. We'll see if in a moment here she can track down the teenager. But as for tonight, again, a great way for Austin to wrap up this homestand. Coming up next, they will go to Oklahoma to take on the Energy at OKC before they renew the rivalry with RGV on September 1st with Copa Tejas. Well, we had a chance to hear from Marcelo Serrano, the 39-year-old. Now let's check in with the teenager who made his debut with the Austin Bowl tonight.
Thanks, Lincoln. Standing by with Vito Avila here. After making his debut, like you just said, in tonight's match, what's going through your mind as you walk up to the line to go into this game for the first time?
It was really good. This is not my debut. I already had it, but it's fine. Well, it's a lot of excitement, a lot of nervousness. Yeah, it was amazing though. It was amazing.
Playing with so many experienced players like Kleber Giomazzi in the midfield and Andre Lima up top, how do they help you as you enter the game and keep you composed and calm in those moments?
They helped me a lot. They gave me more calm every time they try to help me out, tell me what to do, really. A lot of calmness and more patience towards myself. And so I can give better passes, better finishes and stuff like that.
What does tonight's victory with such a large scoring margin for the Bold say about the offensive success that this team is able to achieve and the ceiling that they have yet to achieve in those types of games?
This is a lot, really. We're a brand new team, but with a lot of experience, It's a lot. It's a really big thing for us to win right here at home, and after a loss last weekend too.
Yeah. How do you continue the success going forward?
Just pushing really hard at practice, games, everything.
All right. Thank you so much, Vito.
Thank you.
Ali, thank you. A first chance for the home fans to cheer on Beto tonight. You heard their excitement to cheer on the pride of Hutto, Texas, just on the northeast side of the capital city. as he would help win a penalty opportunity for Sonny Guadarrama to make it 5-1. It was Chuamasi who got the scoring started, the first of 4 straight goals for Austin to build its lead tonight. Lima would find one eventually. Kleber would find a pair as the Bold capture the full 3 points tonight at home. For Ali Trost, Arch Bell, I'm Lincoln Rose, and our entire crew here in the capital city. Bold again back in the win column. Part of that playoff push here in the West of the USL Championship.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.